Good everyone. It's another episode of our online class tutorials. So today we'll be talking on permutation. And now what is permutation? Permutation is simply the arrangement of objects in a particular order. So if we have different objects and we want to arrange them in a specific order, we need the idea or the concept of permutation to be able to do that effectively. Okay. Now there are sometimes you might see a scenario whereby you want to arrange a number of persons, maybe 20 persons. How many ways can we arrange 20 persons and stuff like that? And maybe sometimes we want to arrange books in a shelf. How many ways can we arrange those numbers of books in a shelf, or a particular number or part of it in that bookshelf? For example, we have 10 books we want to arrange in a particular shelf. In how many ways can we arrange 10 books in a shelf where we have 10 spaces? Also, in how many ways can we arrange 5 books out of 10 books in 10 available spaces? So the whole concept of permutation helps us to understand how these things work. Also in the arrangement of people, in the arrangement of selection of persons and all of that. So we'll learn all of that. The notes, I have the notes drafted out and everything we need to know about permutation. The course is actually permutation and combination, but we need to first of all understand the concept of permutation before we go further to understand what combination means. Okay, so permutation is just simply the arrangement of objects in a particular order. So please note that word order. Okay, thank you. So let's move down to the notes so we can proceed. Okay, now looking at this, we can see the definition of permutation. It says permutation is the arrangement of objects in a particular order. You can see the definition there. Talking about permutation is the arrangement of objects in a particular order. Right? Now, example, he said, let us arrange ABC. Now, if you want to arrange ABC in a particular order, we have A, B, C. We have ACB. You can see BAC. You can see BCA. You can see CAB. You can see CBA. Now, all of these are what 6 different ways where ABC can be what arranged. Now, we have 6 different arrangement because the positions of the letter changed. So he said we have 6 different arrangement because the positions of the letter changed. So if you can see, A was not always occupying the first position in all of the arrangement. The first 2 position, A was occupying the first position, but from the third position, from the third arrangement, A was occupying the second. On the fourth, it was occupying the last. On the fifth arrangement, it was occupying the second, and on the sixth arrangement, occupying the last. So you can see that all of the arrangement differs, but it has a specific order. All right, now moving down straight, we talk about factorial notation. So what is factorial notation? So factorial is written as n exclamation mark. It means multiplying numbers from n down to 1. So it means you multiply a number from n down to 1. Now look at the example here. We have 5 factorial. So what is 5 factorial? 5 factorial means multiplying 5 down to 1. That's why we have 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 120. And 4 factorial means multiplying from 4 down to 1, which is 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 24. And you can see that we have 24 as 4 factorial. Even 3, if it's 3 factorial, we can also say 3 times 2 times 1. That's how it works, right? Now factorial is needed in permutation because it helps us to understand the concept of permutation very well. Now NB, look at this NB. Say to get the factorial of a number, we will divide the factorial of the next greater number by that greater number. Now what it means is n factorial is equals to n plus 1 all over n plus 1. It means if we are looking for a factorial of a number, we need to look for a number that is next greater than that number by 1 and divide it by that number. For example, now let's look at this example. Say to find the factorial of 5. So how do we get the factorial of 5 here now? Set solution. To find 5 factorial, we get the next greater number using the formula given. N equals to n plus 1 factorial over n plus 1. So we look for the next greater number that is greater than 5 by 1. Hmm? So now it will be what? 6. So 5 plus 1 factorial over 5 plus 1, which will give us 6 plus 6 factorial over 6. So when you multiply 6 down to 1, it's 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 all over 6. So 6 and 6 cancel. You have 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is equals to 120, right? Now say also, in order to find the permutation of object, we use the formula below. Now look at the formula below to use. This is the formula for to find the permutation of objects in a particular order. Now n, we said n is the total number of objects, then arrow is the required outcome or the required arrangement. As you can see here, the required arrangement. So whenever you see this, you should know that you use what? The formula. Whenever you are to solve permutation problem, you have to use this formula. Now let's take an example. Look at this example. He said, in how many ways can 3 books be arranged order order if 7 different books are available? He said what? In how many ways can 3 books be arranged in order if 7 books are available? Now look at the solution here. The solution is, we use this formula to solve it. This formula, look at this formula here. This particular formula we're using to solve. So n is equals to 7, which represent the total number of what? Of object, which is 7 different books, right? And we have the required of 3 books, required arrangements. We said how many ways can 3 books be arranged? So it will be what? 7 factorial all over 7 minus 3 factorial, which will give us 7 factorial all over 4 factorial, which is equal to 7 times 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 down to 1 all over 4 multiplied by 3 times 2 times 1. So we've seen how to solve problems using factorials, right? Now we've seen how to solve permutation problem. There are more other problems we will solve in our next video. Please keep watching, keep practicing, and keep believing in yourself. You can do it. Maths is not always that complex if you put your mind to study. Thank you, and God bless you.
Quiz.